One in a completely crazy world, Chang is the last calm soul. The ultimate nonchalant king, but is his absolute calm a blessing, or is he cursed too? For 30 years, a strange disease has turned humanity into emotional, violent monsters. They only care about their feelings. Now, at an art department party, things get wild. An angry old man screams at a poor woman over absolute nonsense. Wu Jingjing screams right back, starting a massive shouting match. The crowd just keeps dancing, completely ignoring the chaos until Chang steps in. He calmly resolves their issue, but Xiang hits him hard anyway. A brutal, completely unprovoked blow. Before things get even worse, though. Xiang realizes who he hit and immediately starts begging for mercy. Chang just shrugs it off, telling everyone to keep enjoying the gathering. Yali frantically runs over, asking him if he is all right after that brutal blow. Check out this bizarre reality. Everyone has massive cysts growing on their heads. These growths make them incredibly volatile. At age 10, Chang saw his first. It was growing on his own mother's head, right after his father abandoned them. But he soon realized the terrifying truth. The angrier she got, the larger it grew. And if it burst, head completely gone. Since then, he kept his own feelings on lockdown. He vowed to never lose his cool. Meanwhile, Zhang is starting another violent brawl. He is picking a fight with some random guy, his head growth swelling massively. Chang steps in anyway, even though he usually avoids saving fools. But he is too late. Zhang's cyst suddenly ruptures, changing him forever. He mutates into a completely monstrous engine of pure, unbridled fury. A total explosive rampage begins. The crowd immediately runs in terror. Yet Chang is only wondering one thing: why did his mother die instantly? While this guy gets to transform into a powerful, flaming beast instead. Yali drags him away, explaining that Zhang has ascended into a supernatural threat. That explains the literal flames. She has no idea why his mom perished immediately. But right now, they just need to survive. Suddenly, the beast freezes. Suddenly, Zhang's head completely detonates. The wild fight is finally over. He could not control his inner rage, making him pray for something bigger. All of Zhang's residual energy transfers directly to a powerful man nearby. This guy was Chang's old neighbor, now turned corrupt corporate vice president. He taunts the crowd, mocking their lack of success and ugly appearances. In truth, Zago is an emotional predator who intentionally triggers people's rage. He does it to feast on their explosive emotions. Yali uncovers shocking data. She reveals that Zago's very first victim was actually Chang's own sweet mother. Now he has returned to destroy Chang too, but Chang remains completely unbothered. Since he never gets angry, Zago has absolutely no emotional leverage over him. Yali asks if he wants revenge, but Chang is too practical for that. She tries to reason with him. How can he be so completely blind? Look closely. Chang's own hidden growth is revealed, and it is absolutely massive. The perfect prize for Zago. Zago approaches him with a smug grin. Chang simply ignores him, so Zago demands he stop playing around and do a favor. He violently kicks Chang away, begging him to finally show a little anger. The shocked crowd watches in absolute silence. Zago wants to beat him into submission, but Chang does not even flinch. With zero reaction, Zago sets everyone on fire, mocking him for not saving his crew. Chang flashes back to all the warm, everyday moments he shared with them. Yet he stays calm. As they burn to ash, he remains completely stoic. Zago keeps up his taunts, though the grotesque emotional cyst on his head is swelling. Inside his mind, Chang reveals that his outward calm is purely a mask. He experiences burning rage just like anyone else, wanting to rip everything apart. But he never lets it slip, knowing he must constantly police his own emotions. One slip-up leads to pure regret, so staying logical is his only survival strategy. Yet, how should he handle this when a brainless villain keeps pushing his buttons? He desperately wants to unleash his inner beast and exact vengeance, but he cannot. He wonders why he is trapped like this when he should just go wild. Suddenly, Usley, who miraculously survived the flames, tells him he cannot transform yet. Meanwhile, Zago gets furious that his target is ignoring him to mutter nonsense. Dismissing him as a pathetic loser, Zago lunges forward to end the fight. Right then, Chang realizes Yu is actually a product of his own mind. She is no mere companion, yet begins to transform as she drops the truth. The reason he could not change is because she already transformed him. He is now a monster called rationality, and things are officially getting wild. Zago can only stare in horror at the absolute nightmare taking shape. It is a terrifying mass of heavy chains and jagged steel with a void for a face. Chang realizes this bizarre entity is his actual emotional beast. This is rationality. His superpower is keeping his head while everyone else goes mad. Before he can even process his new power, another visitor arrives. It is the mysterious woman who triggered this entire mess in the first place. She instantly explains that rational emotions are the most overpowered force of all. Absolute reason can easily subdue and control every other chaotic feeling out there. He basically has ultimate control now, though he was blind to it before. Zago quickly senses the danger as Chang takes command of the battlefield. He starts to panic, realizing he is no longer the only powerhouse here. But he hopes Chang is vulnerable since the transformation is still brand new. He summons a massive fire demon, shouting that the rookie is done for. He assumes Chang cannot control his beast yet, basically jinxing himself completely. The fire monster strikes hard, yet nothing seems to damage the boy. In reality, the blue entity is merely a projection of his true power. Chang is still struggling to wield this massive force effectively. Zago sees that the true monster remains deep inside the kid's soul. This cosmic horror is operating completely on its own, terrifying everyone present. The fiery beast bites down directly onto the blue projection's skull. It looks like a fatal blow, but it deals absolutely zero damage. Zago panics as his summon fails, prompting the lady to explain why. Because Chang spent decades suppressing his rage, his mental defenses are maxed. His logic provides a perfect immunity to any kind of rage-based assault. Standing inside the giant jaws, he complains it feels like a mere tickle. Zago finally realizes he is in trouble and starts to panic. He panics, but it is too late. His beast drags Chang through the air, the only choice Chang has left is to swallow his pride and take the beating. The lady advises him to borrow some power from his beast. He raises just 2 fingers and completely obliterates the fire demon instantly. Zago starts losing his mind, wondering how a level 1 rookie just one-shotted his ultimate ability with a couple of fingers. Chang walks out of the smoke looking completely untouched like an absolute boss, so Zago tries to sprint away to escape because now it is his turn to get a beating, but Chang just snaps his fingers and boom, he is after Zago in a flash. The lady warns that emotional monsters are glitchy. They do not die easily, they just temporarily despawn from the world. We then cut to the Sea Emperor, the world's top cruise ship, sailing through sea that is polluted pitch black from some pop star's latest private flight. To her bathroom, the lady explains that this place is basically pay to win combat where wealthy people trade emotions and hunt down ordinary people for sport. The ship itself is an emotional monster, so by chasing Zago here they will be challenging the owner of the vessel itself. As it turns out, the guy they are chasing is also a super VIP guest there. Chang asks if the security on the ship is strong, and she tells him that honestly, he would get wrecked immediately because one single finger can end him. He realizes if he does not finish the job right now, the villain will escape and he cannot come back for revenge later, so instead of playing it safe, he leaps straight off the building to chase him down. Honestly, talk about completely committing to the bit. Meanwhile, things are heating up in the VIP lounge of the Sea Emperor, and you better buckle up because the elite in this world are absolutely out of their minds. A man named Victor Lei is presenting a new piece of artwork to the captain. It looks like a sculpture of a screaming woman, but it is actually crafted from the real bones of the Prime Minister's daughter with her skin stripped off too. Reveal them, Victor claims the bones seem to be laughing, which supposedly makes the artwork highly impactful. I guess that is one way to save on material costs. The room is packed with an incredibly sinister-looking group of powerful elites. You have the captain and a woman from the Ugly Duckling Self-Help Association. Major red flag there, plus a bishop from the Black Chain cult. They are all sitting around congratulating each other on dominating markets and punishing politicians. Then the topic shifts to their previous punching bag, Zago. A servant reports that Zago ended the art director, but ran into a small problem. Specifically, he is currently getting his face rearranged by Chang. Sun Hui is highly disappointed. She thinks it is a waste since Zago followed his master for so long, yet he is getting beaten by a newbie. The captain decides they must save face for the master, so he orders his goons to rescue Zago but ensure the mysterious attacker is eliminated. He assumes the main character has no background and is just some random trash mob they can delete. Big mistake. Never underestimate the guy with the glasses. We cut to the deck where the beatdown is still in progress. Four Eyes is absolutely destroying Zago, ready to deliver the final blow. The latter starts panicking and screaming, begging for his life. He pulls the ultimate. As a last resort, he claims to know who killed Chang's mother, then pauses, demanding answers. Chang listens as Luja confesses he did not do it himself. Instead, a powerful emotional body infected him back on Chang's old street. Right where Chang used to live, he was forced to serve as a subordinate, forced to infect others and hunt monsters just to empower this mysterious overlord. But when asked for a name, Luja completely shuts down, laughing like a maniac. That boss is far beyond anyone else now, and snitching means instant death. Realizing this guy is completely useless, Chang decides to end his miserable life. Telling him to rot, he prepares to strike, but a sudden voice rings out. A cold command orders Chang's heart to stop beating, sending him crashing down. He hits the floor instantly as a calm, butler-like figure approaches, apologizing for being late. Luja is thrilled, and the butler confirms the Sea Emperor's presence. Ready to serve, Luja immediately mocks the helpless man on the floor, mocking his sudden weakness, while a barely conscious Chang wonders what just happened. Thankfully, the helpful goth lady steps in with some much-needed explanation. She reveals this is a direct order from a powerful, arrogant, emotional body. Because this new foe is 2 levels higher, Chang literally cannot disobey. The only reason he is still breathing is because his unwavering logic resists rationality, making him resistant to emotions, yet this opponent is still too strong. He simply lacks the raw power. Chang then wonders why he cannot see the butler's emotional monster, even though the man stands right before him. The lady explains that high-tier monsters hide deep within the heart realm, essentially camping in a safe zone where normal attacks can never target them. To put it simply, these creatures are hiding far too deep to be detected. Suddenly, the butler issues another cold command, ordering Chang to get on his knees. Instantly, the force of gravity multiplies tenfold, slamming him straight into the floor. As he struggles, the lady explains the mechanics of this terrifying class ability. The less physical harm a command inflicts, the more impossible it is to resist. Since kneeling causes no actual pain, he is forced to comply like a child. While the young hero remains pinned to the dirt, Luja decides it is time. Time to start gloating and talking trash, targeting the boy's family. He mocks Chang's mother, calling her trash and bragging about how they treated her. It is an incredibly low blow, even for him. He then shares a twisted memory, recalling the tragic day his mother transformed into a monster. Back then, it was actually a rare, peaceful day, and she was clear-headed enough to cook Chang's favorite meal, tomato-stewed beef brisket, but Luja reveals the sickening truth. She was targeted purely because a mysterious man made one casual remark. Luja admits he actually liked the mother since she always gave him free meals, but watching her descend into despair made him enjoy ruining her happiness. He loves destroying lives. Back in the present, the cruel humiliation continues. The butler forces Chang to kowtow, smashing his head violently into the floor. Luja laughs, offering a shameful chance to survive, swear to be his dog, and bark twice. Pinned to the floor, the young warrior feels the cold tiles against his face. Realizing the entire game is completely rigged, he calls out to the goth lady, realizing she already knew everything about Luja and his ship. First, he demands to know her conditions for unleashing this massive power-up. Her terms are simple: accept her power. Terrified and desperate, he agrees to it all. That triggers it. Boom, pure energy instantly floods him. Bursting from his face and eyes as he screams, the enemies sense his emotional energy is spiking so fast he is losing control. Now Chang is floating, his eyes glowing icy blue. He mutters that his feelings are gone, completely empty. Everything is pure cold calculation. We see a heartbreaking montage of his mother's life. She is beating baby Chang, then her head explodes in the kitchen, fueling his transformation while massive icy shards piece his face back together. His glasses shatter. Yes, he is a completely new man now. The goth lady is thrilled. She explains he has stored enough anger in his cyst, a pretty gross power source if you ask me, keeping him under her control. Sway, she explains his unique build. He must cast aside all rationality during those critical moments to harness absolute reason. She commands him to enjoy his upcoming bloody revenge. Luja, being an utter fool, chuckles because he assumes the terrifying pressure has suddenly vanished. Meanwhile, his butler begins sweating bullets. The butler realizes the power did not vanish. It scaled so high that they cannot even perceive it anymore. Basically, it is like a level 1 crook trying to analyze a level 100 boss. Now, the scene shifts to the club where the heavy beat drops and so do the bodies. Clubgoers begin collapsing right mid-track, terrified by an invisible weight crushing them down. This is absolutely not too much alcohol. It is the overwhelming aura of a legendary emotional master, releasing raw power below them. Upstairs, the syndicate leadership is attempting to enjoy their expensive steak dinners when they feel the entire vibe shift. They realize some monster is invading their territory and break into cold sweat, wondering if this freak is declaring war on the entire Sea Emperor faction or just coming to take back the hostage. Nothing ruins a lavish dinner quite like hearing your crew get absolutely thrashed on your own territory. The comm captain tells everyone to relax while he poses by the window, building his aura. He claims that aboard his vessel, even a legendary grandmaster is just another corpse waiting to drop. He vows that anyone insulting the Sea Emperor will be executed completely secure in his absolute home field advantage. Meanwhile, Luja and his loyal butler are experiencing a complete psychological breakdown. They finally witness the colossal scale of power pouring down from above. Realizing this is a total disaster-level threat, the frantic butler screams for him to escape, knowing his mind control tricks are useless now. But escape is impossible. In a flash, Chang twists the old butler's head clean off like a cheap bottle cap, instantly crushing his brain. Chang actually mutters that the kill was too fast, wishing he had dragged it out. Talk about terrifying presence. The mysterious lady praises Chang, telling him the real fun begins now. Arcs of golden lightning shoot across the floor, forming a massive, glowing seal that covers the entire cruise liner. She explains that the massive vessel itself is actually an emotional manifestation. Talk about a wild combat trick too. Pull out, the smug captain perches on the shoulder of his gigantic avatar as he vows to crush Chang completely. He begins reciting a strange chant to stack up powerful buffs on his attributes. He activates a space binding skill, locking himself inside. He manifests a massive golden cube, and summons giant swords straight out of an anime apocalypse. He warns that Chang should never make the mistake of underestimating his opponents. Meanwhile, the League of Villains chatters about the sheer scale of the emotional beast. They are certain the captain is about to lock down the boy and end this. But then crack, the massive golden cage shatters into a million tiny fragments. The captain stands frozen in pure shock as his ultimate move is utterly destroyed. With a simple wave of his hand, Chang finally unleashes his true strength. The absolute titan of his rationality monster appears in a flash of blue. Sharp chains and fiery blue blades completely dwarf the captain's golden structure. A sudden blast of blue energy obliterates the remaining golden cage. It crumbles as if it were made of cheap glass. Honestly, some cheap steel and borrowed screws might have held up better than that. The captain looks at his crumbling defense and finds himself genuinely impressed. He marvels at how Chang shattered those heavy chains despite being completely berserk. He stares at the sheer destruction, wondering if such monsters even exist anymore. But Captain Beard quickly realizes his entire reputation is on the line here. If he loses to a kid, he will never live it down. His strategy is simple: eliminate anyone who dares to stand in his way. He calls out to his guards as the golden tree starts spawning warriors. The captain orders Chang to freeze, but the boy is already surrounded. Dozens of glowing golden spears pierce his body, trapping him in the air. Just when it looks like the battle is decided, things take a wild turn. Chang grabs the massive spears piercing his body and snaps them like twigs. He tears through the golden soldiers and charges directly at the enemy base. He swings his massive dark sword, aiming a heavy strike right at Beardy. Blue and gold energies clash violently as the two warriors face off. The captain senses that the boy's strength is starting to fade. Since they are far out at sea, there is absolutely nowhere left to run. He decides to capture the hero alive, but the goth girl intervenes. She delivers a harsh warning: her energy is depleted and they must escape. He immediately sprints to the very edge of the ship deck. He throws himself directly into the dark ocean below. The captain watches him go, convinced the boy has completely lost his mind. As he plummets rapidly toward the dark water, Chang looks down at the sea. And that is when a terrifying sight finally reveals itself. A massive, decaying monster face is staring back at him from the deep waves. In this moment, the horrible truth finally becomes crystal clear to him. He thought his own mind was broken, but the reality is far worse. Everyone in this world is infected, and he is no exception. Looking at the ocean and the city, he sees the terrifying truth. The entire world, the sea, the sky, the land, is completely corrupted. He screams aloud as he finally crashes into the water. This entire world is thoroughly broken. Meanwhile, Chang keeps falling. His eyes bleed heavily, his mind absolutely overloaded from the horrifying revelation. From the deck, the captain and his guards simply watch him sink. His mental hardware is completely fried because his fragile mind is not ready to handle reality at maximum settings, but right before he hits the water and turns into a pancake, Yelly, the goth ghost living inside his head, steps in. She tells him to shut his eyes because his tiny soul cannot process the raw truth. She offers to take the wheel and hijack his body. Then suddenly, that familiar blue energy flares up again, but this time it is completely different. The captain watches in horror as the pitch-black ocean rises up to catch them. He realizes Chang's monster can literally control the ocean, which should be completely impossible. Down they go, landing safely on the surface. Chang finally wakes up. Coughing, first thing he wants, his glasses, now we can call him. For eyes again, Yelly explains that the glasses symbolize his fading rationality. Now that he is calm, his glasses spawn back on him. Then she decides it is time for a massive tutorial-level lore dump. She reveals the oil pollution out there is not from some accidental spill. It is the physical essence of depression, left behind from an ancient war. It turns out the entire world is controlled by these beasts, and that terrifying face on the ship was just a tiny minion. Compared to the real threats out there, pointing toward the sky, she speaks its name. But his ears block it out because his stats are too low. Yeli warns him never to look up there directly or his mind will completely shatter. Apparently there is a hidden trigger up there acting like a sensor. She admits she dragged him deep into this mess, ruining his comfortable life, and asks if he hates her. Surprisingly, the kid says no. He has reasons, but he has never felt so alive. Calling this a fresh start, he finally asks who she really is and what she actually wants. That is when Yeli drops her tragedy. She is a wandering spirit, invisible to the world for years, slowly fading out of existence, but our glasses-wearing hero was different. He was the only one who could see her, acting like a literal human furnace to keep her alive. She admits she only used him to survive at first, but now she is offering a fair trade. She will give him power, status, maybe even legendary treasure, and in exchange he must grow strong enough to raid the Sky Dungeon and retrieve a missing fragment of her soul. The two share a sweet moment, holding hands in the sunset and reintroducing themselves. Sweet, right, but the piece is cut short as we see the villains currently doxing him. The bad guys have already pulled up his file. Chang, 18 years old, simple artist. They are deeply confused because his medical reports from March label him a complete nobody, yet here he is fighting world-class threats. She realizes his power is borrowed from the Black Sea and that his eyes bled because he dared to peek at forbidden secrets in the sky. She will let him slide for now, but she will return after playing her role as Sleeping Beauty. Instead of running scared, she gets incredibly greedy, deciding they cannot let him slip away, planning to hunt him down and steal that energy for their master. These fools really saw a guy controlling the entire ocean and actually thought, yeah, we can totally take him. Anyway, we cut to a quiet beach looking at the beautiful scenery after a night of pure, unadulterated chaos. Yeli drops the big question: what does Chang plan to do next? He is already plotting revenge, wanting to track down the monster who targeted his mother, but Yeli shuts that. Get down right now. She warns him that the Shadow Man is far beyond his current level. If they try to fight him now, they will get wiped. Low mana, blown cooldowns. Now the whole server is hunting them down. They need a safe zone immediately, but our boy proves his mind is. Priorities are completely backward. Yeli is talking about actual survival against a dark guild. Meanwhile, Chang suddenly remembers his job. Work. He panics that if he is absent, he will get fired. Honestly, who panics about their paycheck after summoning an entire ocean? Who cares about your 9 to 5? Yeli just stares at him like he is a complete idiot, and he finally accepts that his peaceful life is gone. Soon, they arrive at their destination, the Donghai City Second Mental Hospital, where Four Eyes is being delivered. Yeli explains this is no typical asylum for the insane. It is the official government headquarters for dealing with emotional disorders. Possess special powers in this world, and you get a designated role. Here, she notes a massive boss monster guards the entire facility, similar to the creature he witnessed when he borrowed her power. Inside, Chang inspects the patients. These people are not simply ill. They carry bizarre cysts on their heads, indicating active status effects. Yeli points to a guy with a green cloud hovering over his head, laughing hysterically. He got infected by a happiness virus. Imagine being trapped in permanent laughter. Out of nowhere, a strange girl approaches, asking if they are also here to see the doctor, claiming she is perfectly sane and her parents dragged her here over minor mood swings, threatening her precious collection. She drops some intel explaining Area A is for the infected, while Area B holds people who must be locked up. She swears she does not belong in that high-security zone. Soon, the nurse begins calling out names, sorting everyone into rooms and dismissing the background crowd. But then she summons Chang and Zhang Jikai. that strange girl we met, instructing them to complete registration. The girl seems thrilled, but Chang Mo remains highly suspicious. They follow the staff member as she explains hospital rules. Yeli whispers that Zhang Jai Kai is absolutely infected, but her beast remains hidden in her heart realm, leaving low-level Chang Mo completely blind. To it, this place measures emotional contamination with special tools. Though Yeli admits she is not entirely sure how it operates, they keep trailing the guide down a dark corridor until the girl suddenly halts. Realizing she was transferred directly to Area B, extreme panic sets in. She screams, demanding to know why she is being taken to the execution ward. When she has not harmed anyone, the nurse merely grins, ordering cooperation. As she calmly pulls out a lethal syringe, talk about aggressive. Instantly, sniper teams appear on the rooftops, aiming weapons right at them. That is when Chang Mo witnesses it. Zhang Jai Kai's inner monster erupts, revealing a grotesque mass of writhing blue tentacles and bulging eyeballs. Chang Mo quietly asks what fate awaits the patients rejected by the government. Yeli delivers the cold truth. They are likely eliminated on the spot. He just watches. Glasses steps up, trying to keep everyone calm before things turn into a total disaster. Going down JFK style is not a good bucket list option, so he urges her to stop making a scene. JFK finally backs down, barely keeping her internal beast controlled. But thanks to his incredible rationality, the protagonist manages to keep her completely stable. Julie quickly scolds him for wasting energy on a total stranger, but he shrugs. He simply explains it was just a brief moment of clarity. Besides, authorities do not consume ghee anyway. Suddenly, the nurse decides this interview is over. She orders the snipers to fire, and Chang just watches JFK drop as Yeli warns him. Yeli tells him to fake some kind of reaction, or things will get way worse. A second later, he realizes there is absolutely no blood on the floor. It was only a mild tranquilizer, but Mommy Dammy still mocks his slow reaction time. The nurse warns her men that this girl is highly unstable. She then turns her full attention to the glasses guy, noting his unnatural calmness. Deciding to be completely honest, he just tells her the truth. He admits he can see cysts and monsters that are invisible to everyone else. Wanting to join their official group, he lays down his cards to show value. He asks if she can spot the glowing blue flame on his palm, but she sees nothing. This quietly freaks her out, since invisible power usually hints at high-level mastery. Still, she contacts her superiors, ordering the sniper to take another clean shot. The sniper fires at his head, sending the glasses guy straight to the floor. The nurse vents, diagnosing him as a severe schizophrenic with a hidden side. His calm exterior is just a cover for a truly dangerous monster. She realizes he is actually far scarier than the girl they just shot down. Especially since he was talking to thin air. Suddenly, Chang casually sits up and waves. Shocked, the nurse orders her men to subdue him, and a squad rushes inside. Instead of resisting, Chang simply raises his hands in the air and surrenders peacefully. They lock heavy shackles around his wrists, claiming they completely neutralize special abilities. He should be a normal human now, but as he stands there, something feels off. Instead of losing his strength, an infinite stream of energy begins to flood his body. Ye explains that the metal of these cuffs is actually charged with rational emotions. So instead of a trap, these fools just handed him a massive power boost. Meanwhile, over at the Emotional Management Bureau, a lackey reports some big news. They located the target and successfully locked him inside the restricted Sector B. Hui Hoi is absolutely thrilled since this entire facility falls under her direct control. A nearby room is covered in creepy stuffed animals and fresh blood splatters. A poor man sits strapped to a chair, and Hui Hoi enters to play. Elsewhere in the facility, Jackai is starting to completely lose her mind. Her emotional monster is erupting simply because she is desperate to see handsome guys. Talk about having your priorities straight. the surrounding nurses immediately start panicking. They scream for heavy sedatives while trying desperately to calm the frantic fangirl. Right on cue, a gorgeous new doctor named Lu Qingai enters the room. Wearing glasses, she instantly radiates major love interest vibes for our lead. She effortlessly grabs the terrifying emotional monster with her bare hands like a puppy. Ordering the patient to quiet down, she threatens that they will never meet again. While the head nurse completely freaks out, Dr. Lu simply tells the girl to behave. Believe it or not, it actually works. The beast shrinks back into the patient's head. Turns out Jai's ultimate obsession is just watching handsome guys take a shower. Her superpower is clairvoyance, but she only ever uses it to peep. With great power comes massive perversion. Dr. Lu then shifts her focus to our golden boy. She easily spots his exact ability, which is pure rationality. It's symbolized by his glasses. When he's calm, they appear, but if he loses control, they vanish. She also notices he sees things ordinary people can't, labeling him schizoid, but he quickly denies the whole thing. She explains that Chang's power is incredibly unique, letting him materialize crystals and unleash blue flames. The hospital has temporarily labeled him the seventh unknown type of emotional body, but until they understand his full potential, those heavy chains stay on. Dr. Lu then leaves to examine another patient, Chenu, who looks normal but has highly unusual blood test results. The scan reveals a low risk level, though Dr. Lu seems pretty annoyed with him because by looking at his face, it seems like absolute stupidity is his main power. Jai starts celebrating, thrilled she's not some dangerous psychopath, just a girl with superpowers. To her, this place is heaven since her ability is literally just spying on showering guys. Dr. Lu warns her not to underestimate herself, reminding everyone that all emotional bodies are technically psychotic. Then we get another huge lore dump about the Emotional Body Secret Management Act. The government tightly monitors these emotional bodies so they don't threaten society. If you commit a crime out there, the Bureau will hunt you down. They aren't exactly gentle like the hospital crew or half as attractive as Dr. Lu. Later, Chang realizes that if the government is this strict, then why is the villain Luja still running free? Yeli explains the brutal truth: Luja has a powerful backer high up in the Bureau. The police suspected him for years, but the case was moved to a secret department and buried. This pretty much confirms the corruption runs all the way to top levels. Our blockhead here wonders if they are completely doomed, having walked straight into enemy territory. Yeli admits she might have miscalculated due to her severe memory loss, but tells him to focus on absorbing power from those chains. Because let's be real, he is literally her entire strategy. Next, we cut to the director's office where the director is sipping tea. Suddenly, he completely snaps and smashes his cup onto the hard floor. Dr. Lu just stands there, trying to calm him down. The nurses eavesdrop on them, explaining that Dr. Lu has to deal with this absolute manchild's tantrums because the dean refuses to see him. The director is furious she admitted such a dangerous patient. Chenu brought an absolute monster into the facility, someone who slaughtered people on the Sea Emperor, and now this stupid blonde welcomed him inside. The furious director tells her this is a major diplomatic incident, ordering her to back off and hand Chang over. Suddenly, blood drips down on the director as he stares around the room in absolute horror. Dr. Lu isn't having it. She unleashes a terrifying, murderous aura, warning him that she might not be able to control herself and might just end him right there. Doctor's taken oath to do no harm, but I guess she skipped class that day because she woke up and chose violence. Director Zhao instantly panics, realizing he bit off far more than he could chew. He knows he's standing in his office, yet he feels completely trapped. He is stuck in a room filled with blood, facing a walking, talking red flag. This beautiful doctor might end him at any second, but then someone interrupts. This newcomer is the legendary Dean Yamin Q, who skips the nonsense entirely. She reveals that the criminal Chang ended had actually renounced his citizenship. This means our hero, technically, did not break any local laws. Plot armor wins again. However, the director warns that the Sea Emperor faction wants answers. He claims they are pressuring him, and he needs a solid explanation fast. The dean flatly refuses, pointing out that her hospital remains completely independent. They do not answer to the Song family, and she will not start now. The director leaves as the old dean cusses him out for playing her for a fool. Dr. Lu suddenly lunges at her, earning a sharp hit on the head for losing control. The dean warns her that the four-eyed kid is dealing with a massive emotional body. Dr. Lu starts theorizing, trying to figure out why Chang chose their hospital. She gets hit again as the old lady scolds her for neglecting her potted plants. The dean knows that emotional entity is not here, or she would have sensed it. Dr. Lu wants to hand Chang over to avoid any more trouble. But the dean decides this is the perfect moment for a quick life lesson. She connects the dots and realizes the victim was involved in an old murder case. He was the prime suspect in Chang's mother's death, which is far too convenient. Someone set this up, but she refuses to abandon an innocent citizen. Back at headquarters, the director tries to look up Dr. Lu's file. Instead, he gets hit with a high-level security lock, access denied. This confirms the beautiful doctor is a massive power player hiding in a starter zone. He gets a call from Hui Hoi and tells her there is a delay. Annoyed, Miss Song prepares another pawn, the leader of the Black Chain faction. They need to capture Chang. Why is every woman obsessed with him? We cut back to Chang, who is chilling in bed with his goth companion, Yeli. She explains her stats spiked from the chains, but there is a major problem. He is leveling up too fast, without understanding the concept of law. Think of law as a specific build guide for emotional bodies. Without it, his massive power will run wild because he cannot digest the energy. He needs to master this soon, or his companion Dami will go completely berserk. Yeli continues explaining the lore behind how Chang's powers actually function. She admits she lacks the full picture because he lost his memories years ago. She explains that a rational emotional body must constantly feed on intense feelings. Experiencing extreme emotions is the only way to keep their sanity intact. Basically, you must be a complete wreck to stay sane. Talk about exhausting. Chang remembers using his past anger to stabilize himself. But now he has run completely out of rage. He drained all his old anger, and his recent life has been too boring. He is emotionally bankrupt. Yeli suggests taking a break today. Later, Chang strikes up a conversation with the nurse, asking for his doctor. Then he asks if she can see the same terrifying things. Yeli notes that only the deeply unfortunate can see the world's dark truth. Smiling, the nurse offers Chang a protective necklace to help him. Acting as a lantern for his path, the nurse slips out while Yoli starts hyping. Chang up, she keeps insisting she is actually a good person. Suddenly, Shower Girl wakes from a nightmare. The kind nurse shoves her friend away and takes the massive blast. Explosion, the room is completely wiped out. The nurse frantically calls out for the pretty one but gets absolutely no answer. Then she sees it. Sister Jo, also known as the selfless nurse, pushed her to safety. Just then, a patient walks out of the crater completely insane. Yoli warns that this monster is totally out of control. His cheerful mood can disintegrate everything. Imagine dying just because someone was too cheerful near you. Total skill issue. Chang is shocked, but he has no time to sit there being surprised. Boom, another wall collapses. Emotional beasts burst inside. The nurse tries calling security, but the threat is way too massive. The entire facility is under siege, and the nurse is absolutely terrified. She realizes they are in deep trouble as she screams for the dean to save them. Unfortunately, the dean, the only person who could stop this chaos, is currently fighting battles of her own. Outside, a giant orb floats in the sky as she locks eyes with a mysterious hooded figure. This guy reveals he is the new leader of the Black Chain in Dongai City, and he is feeling highly sensitive because Granny remembered him, but he is here to destroy, not to have some sweet reunion with this old lady, he proudly announces. His plan to erase the hospital from existence, and not just because he hates healthcare. The dean, however, is not amused. She quickly points out a critical tactical mistake. He is keeping his emotional beast bound within his heart realm while attempting to fight using his main body. Man forgot the first rule of Pokémon: you send your beast out to battle. You do not try to punch the Charizard yourself. She calls this the worst decision he has ever made, and looking at the terrifyingly massive energy currently flaring up all around them, she might be right. Inside the hospital, Yoli explains the situation to our golden boy so he can use some serious protagonist energy to end this chaos. She says the two powerhouses outside have a silent agreement to keep their fight in the spiritual realm to avoid flattening the building, but even the splash damage is more than enough to push the patient straight into madness. The nurse is completely losing it, convinced they are all going to die as intense mental pressure tears the room apart. Chang is done waiting. Snap, he breaks his chains. Effortlessly, he just smacks the lunatic on the head, instantly ending the threat. The nurse finally calms down, and the shower-obsessed girl immediately starts simping over how handsome he looks. Priorities are definitely locked, even during this chaos. Yoli warns him about a dangerous new threat approaching, a happy, emotional entity. Despite the cheerful name, this thing destroys matter. Molecular level, one single touch, and you literally disintegrate straight into confetti. Right on cue, a blazing, grinning monster crashes straight through the wall. Chang manages to shield the girls, tanking the disintegration blast, using his own mental energy because apparently his calm logic is strong enough to block physics deleting magic. He easily defeats this second monster, but a third one quickly joins the fight. The nurse warns that this beast can force others to sync with its dark mood, but since it will not attack unless provoked, they decide to leave it alone. Chang looks around. Chang searches for Chenu, the supposedly low-risk patient. Finding an empty bed, he assumes the worst. He thinks the guy is dead, but suddenly Chenu pops up from the floor and grabs him. He uses Chang like a human shield, claiming he just fell out of bed while sleeping and hid in the corner when the blast went off. Nurse Shaylin is frantically trying to call Dr. Lu for help, but her phone is completely dead. Chang Mo, utilizing his high intelligence stats, realizes the enemy is using a signal jammer. The gunfire has stopped, which means the guards have already been wiped out. The group is sprinting down the hallway, gasping for air, but unlike the nurses, Chang realizes his stamina bar is not even dropping. Ye explains that his rationality power enhances physical control, giving him a massive endurance buff. But what is really suspicious is Chenu, the guy whose sole power is literally just sleeping, is also keeping up without breaking a single sweat. This guy is secretly running marathons. The terrified nurse, desperate for help, suggests they find the head nurse Yanbei. She claims this head nurse is a powerful, emotional being who can protect them. Chang pauses, his spider senses picking up something in the distance. A raging flame monster jumps at him, but he needs only one hand to defeat the creature. Jialin spots another body in the distance and tries to shake the victim awake. Chang starts wondering how all this chaos actually came to be. How did one person trigger a collective madness across all the patients at once? In reality, the patients are given special supplements every single day to actively suppress their emotions. The medicine was not spiked, meaning the enemy has another secret way of reaching the patients. The cute nurse suddenly realizes that maybe the head nurse betrayed them all, since she is the only person responsible for making sure the correct medicine is provided. This would also explain why the 3 special cases did not go insane. The head nurse simply did not know what to give them. Realizing they are the last ones left standing, they decide to bolt for the exit, but once again they are stopped. Turning the corner, they find her. The head nurse is suspended in midair, her eyes completely blank. The cute nurse starts demanding answers, but they cannot see what is actually going on. The nurse is frozen midair, arms spread with red thorns erupting from her mouth. Chang quickly realizes this was done to permanently silence her. Outside, a similarly gruesome scene is displayed, with bodies suspended by thorns and vines everywhere. Suddenly, a random heavy patient calls out Chang's name as he prepares himself for the absolute worst outcome. Our boy Chang is backed into a tight corner. The red thorns lash out to capture him, but instead of panicking, he unleashes a massive blast of blinding blue energy. The hooded villain, watching from his high horse, literally floating somewhere in the air, just scoffs. He thinks Chang is just a total amateur, spamming his ultimate in a panic, wasting his cooldowns recklessly. But while the villain is busy critiquing his opponent's gameplay, he realizes the blue explosion was actually just a smoke screen. When the dust settles, the spot is completely empty. Chang and the girls have pulled a classic disappearing act on him. Chang suddenly stops and pulls the team back. Something is wrong. He looks down at his own body. It is covered in phantom red spikes. The cute nurse is confused because she sees absolutely nothing, but Jakey screams. She can see them. It turns out Jakey's voyeuristic powers actually give her true sight against emotional constructs. Who knew being a creep would turn out to be a top-tier skill? Yakli looks at he wonders if he can even see anything like this. Chang quickly realizes these spikes are not just projectiles, they are growing straight out of him. Grabbing one of the thorns piercing his chest, he rips it right out and crushes it in his hand. He thrusts his hand out the window, and more spikes begin growing out of his flesh, but this actually helps him figure out the mystery. Thorns only grow if you stand directly in front of them. Yavalai tries to explain that these could be powers of the hatred emotional body, but she is not entirely sure. Chang just stares at her as she pulls out the memory loss card yet again. The girls look over at Chang, who is staring blankly at empty air. The nurse assumes he is having another mental episode. Honestly, do not blame the guy. Anyone would look crazy talking to a beautiful, invisible woman. Meanwhile, Megamind starts explaining the entire situation. They only have 6 or 7 seconds before the thorns take their lives. The cute nurse suddenly realizes these are the powers of the Black Chain cult. She explains how the Black Chain tried to destroy the entire city years ago, but vanished after their defeat, and the Black Sea was their doing too. Aleli admits there is something really important, she just cannot seem to remember. Suddenly, massive thorns burst out of Chang's body as he realizes he is done for. He is the absolute only one out of the whole group who got infected. Far in the distance, a red orb covered in eyes watches them. Yili orders Chang to blast his flames directly at that biblically accurate horror. Chang fires. Sensing he hit something, the goth girl explains he is just too weak to actually see the enemy. Yili tells him to target those creepy eyes. But the others think he has completely lost his mind. Jai the goat explains he is attacking because of the thorns. 4 Eyes unleashes more of his flames, destroying the watchers. In a hidden corner, the fat villain realizes he has been spotted, but he has plenty of backup eyes. He is completely sure that Chang will eventually break. Pretty bold talk for a coward who refuses to play fair. Right on cue, Chang collapses. Outside the hospital, patients are floating helplessly in the midair. Chang lies on the floor while thorns slowly tear through his skin. Jockey screams in terror, demanding to know who is doing this. A very fair question. When your best friend is turning into a human pincushion, suddenly, Jockey spots something creepy. Red eyes are swarming all around them. She realizes they are trapped by invisible cameras made of pure, raw hatred. The nurse begins panicking too. First their main guy collapsed, and now Jaiki is completely losing it. Yali analyzes the situation, but things look utterly hopeless. Within his mind, Chang realizes these spikes are mostly illusions. Except for the actual physical pain they cause. He asks his inner spirit for a plan. But she has drained her energy as well. He asks if she even cares about him. She admits that if he dies, she vanishes too, but there is no need to worry. Because she will always be right there with him. Talk about a loyal companion, Chang tells everyone to get out of the room. He was the target from the very start. The enemy wants him alive, not dead. As long as the others flee, they will remain safe, but the cute nurse starts melting down, feeling completely helpless. And begging for a savior, Chang forces himself to stand. Honestly, he is the only one here actually trying to take charge. Gi tells him to stop. They leave Chang behind, but he is still optimistic his plan will work. The villain watches from the shadows, realizing how incredibly annoying these meddling kids are. But he promises not to hurt any innocent people. A bit too late for that, buddy. He decides these three will be part of the aftermath. He will dispose of them too. Suddenly, the floating eye he was using to spy gets completely destroyed. The hospital is in total chaos. Jai realizes the unstable patient in the room destroyed. The last eye, they make a break for it, as Chang asks the nurse for handcuffs. Chang will use their power to make Yale strong again. Meanwhile, Jai guides the group through the halls as they dodge floating eyes left and right. Soon, they are surrounded. Orange smoke fills the room and the remaining eyes are destroyed. Chang explains that he always turns his bad luck into good luck. This makes them all realize his strange emotional power is actually pure luck. The villain freaks out because he cannot spot the kids anywhere. All of his eyes show empty spots. On the other side, the kids hide directly underneath a passing eye. Without detecting them, the girls giggle because they are standing right there. Suddenly, the eye stops, almost spotting them. Luckily, it gets taken down by another stroke of plot armor. A fire monster pops up and is immediately taken down. At the equipment room, the nurse realizes she forgot the keys. But then, conveniently, the door just falls right off its hinges. Four eyes absorbs the power from the cuffs. Goth Mommy praises her good little boy for raising his rationality. She also confirms that if they defeat the main boss, the thorns will disappear. But right now, their enemy is incredibly dangerous. While Chang acts like the man of the hour, Yeli drops some major lore. She explains there are 6 total levels. Right now, 4 Eyes is lower than Luza. But with the power of logical thinking, he can easily beat him. The only advantage is that the enemy is currently maintaining the thorns by using almost all of his power. His human body is fragile, so catching him by surprise is the best way to get rid of him. Chang just stares at Yeli as if she just dropped the secrets of world domination. But there is a catch. The Dean is fighting a world-class monster, and Yeli can sense the Dean's condition. She can also perceive things normal humans cannot. But why didn't she sense the thorn monster? Is her judgment really valid? Yeli explains that among monsters, seeing is a highly important ability. The higher your status, the better you can see. Sometimes your vision gets blocked. A prime example is that a dinosaur is too massive to notice a tiny bug. Things like these patients are too unimportant for her to notice, but the granny is much more powerful, allowing her to monitor her. But the granny is also using her powers to shield the hospital. As Chang talks to his mommy, everyone looks at him as if he is having another episode. Suddenly, he explains his plans, making the nurse panic and ask her trusty Jayaki to check if someone is messing with them. Jayaki realizes where the attacker is. Once again, the big guy throws a tantrum and experiences a terrifying "he is right behind me" moment. The villain freaks out as 4 Eyes jabs at him with his fist but misses at the last second. Chang knows this is the moment where they completely messed up. The enemy uses his thorns to disappear, leaving Chang to bite the dust. The villain reaches a safe distance and the enemy scout immediately goes back to pulling the exact same stunt he almost died for. He watches Chang, who sprouts thorns the moment those creepy eyes land on him, but he keeps sprinting. Sprinting through random hallways, he crashes through a wall like an absolute monster. But the villain was so focused on his spying that he completely missed Chang tailing him. Sharp thorns burst from Chang, hoisting the guy high up and pinning him to the ceiling. Using some stolen angelic-style powers, the villain constructs a massive whip. He immediately begins lashing Chang over and over, calling this a deserved punishment. The guy tells him that he really should have just been a good boy and surrendered. But now the villain has to skip straight to the brutal stuff, and a certain goth lady starts mocking the battered remains of our golden boy, laughing at his miserable defeat. She claims he lost to an opponent who was barely putting in any effort at all. However, here is the thing, Chang is covered in chains to absorb all that raw power. Once he does, he will revert to normal, making this whole torture session completely useless. Plus, taking such a savage beating actually gave Chang a massive, unexpected advantage. Being completely immune to this tier of raw hatred, he shatters his thorny bindings instantly. He lunges straight for the villain's throat as the guy realizes he messed up big time. After taking that brutal, unblocked whipping, Chang has grown unbelievably powerful. The terrified villain desperately scrambles to flee in any direction he can find. But before he can take a single step, Chang drags him right out of his hiding spot. Even better, their lucky trump card Chen steps up, guiding all the patients perfectly. They launch a massive, coordinated strike, while Chang prepares to deliver the final blow. With the villain down, the patients celebrate, cheering over their hard-won victory. Jai cheers loudly over the walkie-talkie, while Chang breaks down his genius plan. He had Chen track the enemy through the intercom system with Jackie's assistance. The massive thorns outside finally begin to wither, but a huge problem remains. Granny is still fighting the actual, incredibly dangerous mastermind, so they need a plan. They must escape the hospital's shield and contact their blonde ally for backup. But out of nowhere, a vicious stream of insults is thrown directly at Chang. The defeated villain's severed head is literally floating in midair, fueled by pure, burning rage. He gathers every single remaining thorn to launch one desperate, final strike. Chang runs for his life, but the enemy's lingering malice is driving this relentless attack. Bumping straight into his companions along the way, they all sprint together. Suddenly, the fire user halts, summoning his flames to hold back the chasing threat. Unfortunately, this brave stand turns out to be incredibly foolish. The villain instantly defeats the poor guy and charges right toward the terrified nurse. She is completely panicking, but they absolutely need her because she holds the only phone. Tripping to the ground, she is about to get hit when Yuli commands her beast. In that split second, the nurse genuinely believes her luck has finally run out. With her entire life flashing before her eyes, she desperately stretches out her phone. Chang looks at her in absolute disbelief before grabbing her hand. Flinging her to safety, he looks like some overdramatic lud from a 2016 anime. Shouting for the others to run, he prepares to rely on his own hidden ace. Their only hope is getting in touch with Dr. Liu, but Yi quickly scolds Chang. She yells at him for playing the hero, since they are both in deep trouble now. Yet she cannot help but respect it, knowing this calculated move was actually pretty smart. She orders him to absorb all the power from the chains immediately, a desperate final gamble. To save their lives, Chang obeys Yeli, and his aura instantly explodes into absolute madness. Outside the clinic walls, the hat-wearing villainess and her minion observe the shifting barrier. Stunned by the sudden shift, the sidekick suggests that they should step in. She immediately stops him. It simply is not her job. After all, her contract only covers dealing with world-class emotional beings. So the lackey begs her to at least seal off the area to prevent escapes. But the stylish lady casually points out that she is already blocking the main exit. Up in the mountains, the desperate survivors finally manage to find a phone signal. Predictably, Dr. Liu has his phone turned off, but Chen keeps pushing her. He urges her to blow up his phone like an obsessive ex. Massive thorns rip the building to shreds, while terrified patients scramble to find an escape. Red and blue light collide violently, while the entire facility crumbles into dust. The boss launches a brutal, all-out attack. Chang prepares to clash head-on, but Yeli intervenes. She warns him that he is still too weak, but she has another trick. Chang just needs to utilize his pure rationality, just like he did before. Meaning he literally has to beat some logic into this walking, talking corpse. Since he is just a walking corpse, it is over. Chang lunges straight at the monster, determined to beat some sanity back into him. He grabs the monster's head, unleashing a massive surge of pure logical energy. Terrified, the monster realizes his very existence is being erased from the inside out. He struggles to fight back, but his hatred is no match for cold, hard logic. As logical thoughts flood his mind, the monster's illusion shatters, leaving him weeping. He finally remembers how peaceful it is to live without 24/7 hatred. Apologizing to Chang for all the pain, his body suddenly crumbles into red ash. The giant, bloody thorn monster outside immediately collapses along with him. Chang drops to the ground, utterly exhausted but alive. Yeli congratulates him, confirming that the threat is finally, completely dealt with. But there is a major catch. The emotional energy released here is absolutely massive. Floating in the air is a massive red orb of condensed hatred, his ultimate reward. Absorbing this core would make his power skyrocket, but he faces a major issue. He cannot safely use it because his body lacks a hatred emotional structure. Doing so would make him too overpowered. Suddenly, Yeli turns and sees him losing control. She rushes over to help him, but Chang remains eerily, shockingly calm. Strange blue crystals sprout from his head, and she tells him to remember emotional moments. He needs to focus on strong emotional memories to suppress the logic, but Four Eyes is completely lost. Asking her what those words mean proves things have gone way too far. She knows she can save her loyal companion, but she must unlock her sealed memories. Forcing herself to calm down, she desperately thinks of a way to save him. After all, he makes her feel happy. Suddenly, she spots a strange glow. Something is radiating from the hatred core, and she realizes it is her own power. She desperately instructs Chang to touch the core so they can be saved, but she remains deeply confused. Why would her own power be trapped inside that hateful, rotting body? She wonders if she is somehow connected to the mysterious Black Chain cult. As Chang reaches out and touches the core, a blinding white light engulfs the entire area. In a sudden flashback, a fanatical crowd chants the name of the Black cult's leader. She stands before them. Order must be restored, she promises. They must completely destroy Donghai City. Talk about an insane twist, Chang looks on. In absolute disbelief, to think the actual mastermind of everything was right next to him. Whispering sweet lies this entire time, Yeli looks just as stunned, but Chen wonders about her real motives. The truth is finally out. The vision ends abruptly. And Chang collapses straight onto the ground. Yeli tells him she has uncovered some of their enemy's secrets and knows exactly how to save him, offering a glowing red orb. She urges him to eat it. Chang stares at her, hesitating for a long moment. Before asking her to feed it to him, he swallows it down, immediately. Jagged red thorns violently erupt from Chang's body. Yeli flashes a sinister, wicked smirk. While Chang looks up at her in absolute horror, the dark crystals encasing him shatter. As he crashes back to the earth, Yeli cradles his head once more, offering comfort. For trusting her, weakly, Chang mutters that he really had no other choice here, which seems to be his usual defense. Yeli gently tells him to rest. Chang now admits that it is a massive shock to learn she is the leader of the Black Chain, but questions if she can still control the cult. Yeli quietly admits she cannot, because after her initial mission failed, the faction splintered and rebuilt from within. At that time, Zio was her main rival, leading the opposition. If Chang falls into his hands now, it means absolute doom. Chang asks why they aren't running. The answer is simple: they are already caught. Nearby, a heavily battered Zio sneers down at Chang, who is sprawled helplessly in the middle of a battlefield. On the other side, Granny is hopelessly pinned down in a giant sticky web. Looking utterly miserable, she fiercely screams at Zio, telling him to turn and fight. The Hat Lady watches from the hill, while her minion scoffs that Zio's arrogance has clouded his judgment. He suggests they just end the old woman since she was never even a part of the plan, but the Hat Lady quickly corrects him, noting that a being fueled by pure hatred is corrupted from the inside out. Once the overwhelming energy inside Granny begins to recede, her own hatred will consume her. All Zio needs to do is ignore her until she finally passes away, but Zio seems far more eager to deal with Chang. The camera slowly pans out as the entire group lies unconscious. It seems Chen's famous luck is no match for direct combat. The Hat Lady decides it is time to depart. Meanwhile, at the bureau, Dr. Lu is completely zoning out, wondering why she is trapped in another useless meeting. This top-secret emotional body administration briefing is about as exciting as watching paint dry. As a presenter drones on endlessly, Dr. Lu makes absolutely no effort to hide how bored she is. She keeps tapping on her phone, playing games to pass the time. During this absolute snooze fest, spotting this, the annoyed meeting leader barks at her to turn off her phone because it is classified, but Dr. Lu does not give a single damn. She stands right up, announces she needs a bathroom break, and walks out. Zero hesitation. When you have to go, you have to go. In the restroom, she finally checks her missed notifications and sees a call from Nurse Xiaolin, calling back. She demands to know why she is ringing her so incredibly late. Xiaolin drops the terrifying news: the second hospital is under siege, the guards are defeated, and the dean is trapped in a brutal fight. Instantly, Dr. Lu's face turns completely terrifying. She looks out the window toward the hospital and spots the dean's emotional body, but she also sees a massive red aura blanketing the entire sky. It is the hatred emotional body. Dr. Lu instantly realizes the dean is in grave danger, perhaps even dying, and doesn't waste a single second. She smashes through the glass window, leaping out and flying toward the hospital like a hero on a mission. Back at the meeting, the man finally realizes exactly what happened. He couldn't stall the blonde doctor from saving the day. Meanwhile, across the city, other powerful emotional bodies can sense the massive disturbance. A representative at Sky Entertainment and another at Inspur International both notice the massive energy spike, realizing a world-class battle is unfolding. Wondering if this is a war against the hospital, the conflict affects everyone as terrified citizens scramble for cover. An unknown lady comes into view, watching the chaos unfold while harvesting aura from a quiet rooftop. Back at the hospital, Nurse Jolin is panicking. She desperately wonders if Dr. Lu will make it in time. Chen tells her not to worry, but Jakey decides to use her clairvoyance to check on Chang. She focuses her mind, trying to see his current situation, but immediately she screams in pure agony, clutching her eyes. She shrieks that her eyes are burning because whatever she saw was too intense for her level 1 peeping skills. The scene shifts to Chang Mo and Zhou, surrounded by a red pool of blood. Colossal hand made of dark energy claws down from the sky, swiping at the targets. Dr. Lu makes her dramatic entrance, looking as menacing as humanly possible. Dr. Lu finally lands, and the impact is absolutely massive. Zhou takes one look at her and immediately realizes he is completely out of his leg. One glance at her stats is enough to make him log out and start a tactical retreat. He knows he has to escape before he gets totally one-shotted. Zhou tries to use his thorny powers to escape, but Dr. Lu keeps slicing them away. When he finally manages to reach the edge, he realizes Dr. Lu has deployed a special barrier to prevent his escape. Dr. Lu steps forward, ready to strike him, but he narrowly slips away. The barrier begins regenerating, but Zhou plays a dirty card, revealing the dean's critical condition to distract her. The blonde doctor pauses as Zhou makes his getaway. She quickly picks up Chun, heading toward the dying dean. She gently holds the old lady, setting her down as she contacts the hospital team. Granny tells Dr. Lu to stop wasting her energy because she knows her time has come. The old woman admits she is simply too old. Dr. Lu promises vengeance for her dear mentor as red energy begins to swirl around them, far off in the forest. Even the allies and villains can feel her massive murderous intent. Now, Dr. Lu starts muttering about ending the bastards responsible, the dying Dean forces her to calm down, giving her final quest to Dr. Lu. She tells the blonde doctor to come closer, placing the heavy task of babysitting the main character on her. She says after she dies, Chang Mo becomes Dr. Lu's problem. Now, with those last words, Granny decides it is time to officially log off. From this world, rest in peace, Dean, you truly were a real one. The scene shifts to the dark woods at night, where the nurse holds Dr. Lu in a tight embrace while the rest of the team stands in stunned silence, completely lost on what to do next. The grief is heavy, but as the focus shifts to the aftermath, it reveals absolute chaos. Bodies are dropping, and the city skyline is getting absolutely demolished by massive red tentacles erupt everywhere, looking exactly like a heavily glitched physics engine. The director watches the chaos, knowing his insurance will never cover this. This disaster is entirely on him. Meanwhile, deep in the red zone, a nurse is pinned to the wall by spikes, looking completely offline. While the blonde hottie stares her down, we jump to the main hospital in Dongai City, where the blonde doctor tries to manage her panicked staff, telling everyone to go rest up. She specifically calls out Chang because he took the heaviest hit. She tries to promise them the city is safe now, which sounds like absolute lies after the skyline just turned into absolute horror. The medical team agrees to leave, but one guy with messy brown hair decides to linger behind. He stops Chang, introducing himself as Lu Xinling. He is desperate, begging for help because he heard Chang has a special skill to suppress emotions and stop them from going wild. Chang confirms he can do it and agrees to help, telling Lu Xinling to prepare. Chang activates the ability, placing a glowing hand on Lu Xinling's head. The reaction is instant and painful. Lu Xinling clutches his chest, taking heavy psychic damage and collapsing to his knees. He begins crying, calling out for Sister Zhou. Chang asks if he is okay, but Lu Xinling drops a devastating confession. He actually killed Sister Zhou himself. Chang tries to play it cool, saying it was an accident and crying will not bring her back. But Lu Xinling is spiraling hard. He screams that he deserves to die because he was completely obsessed with Sister Zhou and wanted to confess to her that night. But the worst part isn't the murder, it is the delay in his feelings. He admits that after taking her down, he felt no sadness. He was actually smiling. He wonders if his mind is broken, since he can still laugh like some kind of monster. Chang tries to comfort him, saying it is not a huge deal, handing over a keepsake pendant Sister Zhou had left behind. Lu Xinling breaks down entirely, thanking Chang for the peace. The very next day, a suicide note is found. Lu Xinling wrote that the laughter came back and he could never forgive himself for feeling joy after taking her life. The story turns dark, musing that for some, only death can end the heavy burden of their failings. Chang wonders if the same fate awaits him. Meanwhile, outside the city, the escaped head nurse, Yan, is roaming around. She contacts Hui Hai, reporting that she is close and loving her newfound freedom away from her old hospital restraints. She makes a firm promise to capture Chang, with Anna assisting her. The scene shifts to a luxurious estate owned by the Song family. Hui Hai thanks Di for his services, promising full payment once the job is finished, while Zhou is distracted, thinking deeply about Yi. Next, we open inside the capital city tribunal, where a man named Chen Lele is being totally crushed by the law. The judge steps up, sentencing him to life in prison for abusing his emotional powers. Within the city and hurting 17 citizens, Chen Lele instantly loses his mind, shouting that it was an accident and attempting to use his wealthy family name, boasting that he is a top-level hunter from Sky Entertainment. He demands a retrial, but the court coldly tells him the verdict is final. Realizing his account is about to get banned forever, Chenlei completely loses it. He screams in a wild, destructive rampage as a massive eldritch horror tree monster. With a giant red eyeball spawns right behind him, but the judge does not flinch. She warns him that if he resists, she will spawn camp him into oblivion right there. She flexes her absolute supreme authority. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the roundabout meeting, which is basically a council of elders deciding the meta for emotional bodies. They immediately skip over the massive disaster at Donghai City. Because the chatter is too toxic, moving on to discuss our main trio instead. A few elders suggest awarding them bronze medals and recruiting them for training. Most of the table agrees, but then Leia, the guy with the scar, starts laughing. He mocks the other elders, calling them mere office workers who do not know the real game. Then he proceeds to expose the main trio's secrets. He reveals Chenzu runs a luck build. Jakey possesses a broken information-gathering skill, while Chang uses suppression chains. Now that chain part is totally wrong, but the other elders are still incredibly impressed. They immediately want to send Chang to the Central Research Institute to min-max his potential. But Leia throws a major yellow flag, revealing that Chenzu isn't even a true citizen. The kid just randomly spawned out of nowhere in Donghai City. Next, he targets Chang, loudly claiming that the guy's background is highly suspicious. He believes a world-class organization is backing Chang, pointing out the perfect timing. Only 2 days after he arrived, Lehai Zio argues Chang didn't actually save the dean. This means his heroic service is a total scam. Then, he drops a massive accusation. Chang is an imposter, a secret undercover agent for the Black Chain cult. He demands an immediate arrest warrant, trying to vote him off the ship right now. Meanwhile, back at the hospital, Chang is just chilling with his mother, Yeli. He starts grilling her, asking if she remembers founding the notorious Black Chain cult and destroying Donghai City over 10 years ago, but she claims she remembers nothing. He notes that the cultist Joe seems to really miss her, pointing out his fear. Noting that the cultist was absolutely terrified of Yeli's overwhelming power back then. A quick flashback shows a happy young villain, but Yeli narrates that he was actually a creature of pure hatred on the verge of losing complete control. Chang looks at her like she is the real imposter, but she assures him they are on the same side. He remains highly skeptical about teaming with bad guys, but she tells him not to worry. Suddenly, she remembers something major. She turns to him with a completely deadpan expression and asks if they should just run away together, telling Chang it is time to escape. Her original plan relied entirely on the powerful Dean protecting them. But since the Dean has been disconnected from the server of life, that plan is dead. She warns him that the government higher-ups will probably treat him like a target in some bad harem anime, making slipping away their absolute best option. Suddenly, a wild Dr. Lu appears at the door, thanking Chang for his incredible performance. She admits she completely underestimated his actual power level back then. Believing he was just another weak rookie, Chang tries to play it cool, acting totally humble, but then the vibe shifts instantly as Dr. Lu drops her act and demands to know about the Sea Emperor raid and the world-class entity backing him. The room turns red as she activates her terrifying intimidation aura, claiming her intelligence network is basically wall hacking, and she already knows everything. Bro is cornered. Talk about a mood swing. She goes from friendly greeting to choosing violence in half a second. Yeli frantically tells Chang Mo to just deny everything and gaslight his way out. She is terrified as a former cult leader who tried to nuke the city. She is not welcome. Dr. Lu instantly gets physical, aggressively grabbing Chang Mo right by his collar. While Chang Mo plays dumb about this high-level threat, Dr. Lu is not buying the act. She directly accuses him of taking down Lu Ya and soloing the Sea Emperor in a massive world war. She points out major holes in his story. like how he walked 30 kilometers from the sea without triggering a single camera. Chang Mo claims he was just lagging, blindly following a mysterious voice in a daze. But then she drops the real lore. The Bureau tried arresting him on day 1. But the Dean protected him. She screams that was a massive mistake. She believes Chang Mo is an imposter working with the Black Chain cult. According to her, he helped the cult raid the hospital and pull the plug. Dr. Lu commands him to die, swinging a massive red weapon at his face. Chang Mo barely survives the blow. He notices Dr. Lu has completely snapped. She is running purely on emotional aggro, determined to send him straight to the afterlife. Yeli warns him that Dr. Lu's combat stats are completely broken right now. She is stronger than any boss they have faced. She tells Chang Mo to take a gamble. Cast a fire spell to blind her, then try debuffing her madness with some rationality. Chang Mo tries to unleash the fire, but his skill completely glitches out. Instead of a massive fireball, he just shoots out blue jelly. Seriously, what is happening? Dr. Lu is swinging that massive red scythe with zero chill. Chang Mo tries to counter with his spell, but instead of raging fire, he just squirts out more pathetic blue goo. Dr. Lu pins him to the ground. But then she suddenly snaps, right out of her terrifying berserker mode. Turns out that weird blue goo was not a glitch after all. It applied a massive sanity buff that instantly cleared her confusion status. Dr. Lu immediately bursts into tears, apologizing for almost taking his life. She admits she thought she had completely failed the Dean. She explains that the High Council was debating whether to execute Chang Mo. But the top leader decided to let Dr. Lu take custody of him instead. She is changing her class to join the pursuit team hunting the cult. And she is drafting Chang Mo and the other 2 rookies into her party. Meanwhile, in the villain lair, a purple-haired guy is hosting a stream. They have a university professor tied up completely upside down. But instead of a standard interrogation, they dosed him with heavy laxatives. The villains are literally live streaming this poor guy struggling against his bowels. They are waiting for a disgusting disaster while the chat spams emotes. This is exactly what happens when trolls run the server. After cutting the stream, the purple-haired leader briefs his partner. Their main quest is to capture Chang Mo and his entire crew. They want to harvest their emotional cores for a wealthy VIP client. He knows this mission will be tough since powerful guardians protect them. But he is bored and wants the experience points. Meanwhile, back at the hospital, Chang Mo is having a massive crisis because his powers are entirely broken. The energy refuses to crystallize, prompting Goth Lady's patch notes. Since he leveled up during that boss fight, his stamina costs have completely skyrocketed. She explains that if he does not eat the emotional energy from the chains, his skills are useless. She bluntly says without food, he literally cannot get hard, giving him the magical equivalent of performance anxiety. She warns he must grind for energy immediately or soon his account gets deleted like hers. Suddenly, an NPC approaches the safe zone. Chang's danger sense finally pings that it is the Black Chain cult because of the thorn, but she suddenly starts bowing and calling Chang master, declaring she is here to rescue him. Chang is confused, but things get weird fast as she starts rummaging her pockets, popping up to offer him a heart-shaped box of homemade cookies. She drops the main quest. They want him to take over the guild as leader. She explains that the fatty Chang recently wiped out left a final message, naming Chang the chosen savior who will purge the hatred. Yeli starts flexing that her legacy build still has followers in the current meta. The girl breaks down the guild politics. There are 4 officers backing Chang, but they only control 30% of the player base. The other 70% are loyal to the current guild leader, Zio, who definitely will not like this coup. Realizing this, Chang wonders if it is a trap, asking why he should trust a potential assassin sent by Zhou to instackle him. She tries to guilt-trip him, crying about the Risks she took and how hard she worked on those sweet homemade cookies, but when Chang hits her. With a highly skeptical look, her mask slips completely. She goes from waifu material to an angry wife in a split second, her eyes glowing red as she screams. Why are all these girls so crazy? Honestly, nobody is complaining before Chang can. Except a purple streamer jumps right through the window and attacks the girl. Chang realizes he is under attack. The poor guy knows he is nowhere near recovered enough to fight another lunatic, so he does the only logical thing and screams for Dr. Lau to save him. The doctor immediately starts rushing toward the room, realizing her granny's last mission might just be sabotaged. Despite the heavy security, Chang tells the girl to run and she quickly escapes. Leaving only Chang and the laxative dude, he immediately goes for Chang's throat, but Lu's scythe holds him back as she crashes through the wall. The guy vanishes, leaving Chang begging his mommy for answers. This attacker was incredibly high level, making him invisible even to her, but then she realizes he has rushed toward the other two beginners while she was busy protecting the idiot. As Chang and Jackie stand near the doorway, the enemy strikes them from behind. Blessed by pure plot armor and Chen's luck, they both slip, and the villain completely misses. As Dr. Lu rushes toward the two idiots, the blue-haired freak vanishes again. She warns the clueless duo that someone is out to get them, so they better watch out. Lu wonders if she is just too weak to detect this hidden enemy. She considers summoning her emotional monster to save the kids, but they are already too traumatized, and she avoids involving innocent civilians in this chaos. Chang asks his mommy if she can actually see the enemy, but even she struggles as the unseen foe watches. He targets them all from the ceiling, plotting to drag Chang away, but the wild girl points directly to where the enemy is hiding. Instantly, Dr. Lu lunges at the man, but he vanishes before her giant scythe can even touch him. She realizes they must escape the hospital before facing more dangerous foes. Lu warns Jakey to stay highly alert, since only her special eyes can track the killer. Meanwhile, Chang stares at his hand and the strange crystal containing the assassin's number. He is still out there, this dangerous and chaotic menace to society. Known as Chen's son, the blue-haired freak is wanted for every crime imaginable. He is basically speedrunning every violation of the Geneva Convention. This guy has collected more aliases than a generic rapper. They call him Mr. Smoke, the ghost magician, and the glitch, though the underworld knows him as the legendary assassin. His history runs incredibly deep, defying normal limits. He eliminates high-profile targets inside heavily guarded, locked rooms practically phasing through solid walls to ambush politicians. The Emotion Body Management Bureau once deployed an entire elite tactical squad led by a world-class agent. Yet this city-level target somehow managed to slip away completely unscathed. Talk about a massive failure. Inside their getaway vehicle, the crew discusses different power tiers, revealing a quick breakdown of their world. Tier 1 consists of street-level fighters, where Chen-jun and Jakey currently stand. They are mere beginners. Tier 2 represents district-level power held by the bespectacled driver Chang. Tier 3 steps up to city level, which is where the deadly assassin stands. Higher ranks scale up to provincial, national, and elite world class. The gap between these levels is absolutely massive, yet despite being 3 ranks lower, Chen Sun easily slipped past a world-class agent. He seems to break the rules. The crew is completely stunned. The government suspects his power is a lethal combination of teleportation and flawless invisibility. He plays a different game compared to normal combatants. Without this theory, his insane legendary feats remain completely inexplicable. Chang is visibly sweating as they explain that world-class fighters possess absolute awareness, a massive spatial dome that lets them perceive everything. Even so, Chen Sun walked right past them with total confidence. Bold defiance, Lu warns that since they are targeted by someone with unstoppable precision, they must remain close to her. Meanwhile, Chang is in total panic, claiming the killer could be watching them right now. He is terrified, imagining wild worst-case scenarios. He truly believes Chen-sun is waiting for the perfect moment to execute them all. Jakey tries to tell him to stay calm, but Lu agrees with the worried driver. The atmosphere inside the vehicle immediately turns grim. Lu admits she cannot fully guarantee their survival, which is the last thing they want to hear from their strongest defender, but she quickly delivers a threat. She vows that if he touches them, she will drag him to hell with them. Chen Jun tries to encourage everyone, noting that Jakey's sight counters that stealth ability, desperate to keep hope alive. Jakey points out that Chen Jun's bizarre luck saved their lives before by causing him to stumble perfectly. His extraordinary gift seems to function as ultimate plot armor. Lu quickly cuts off his optimism. She warns them that relying on sheer luck is a quick path to a grave. She completely crushes her high hopes, leaving Jakey. She just agrees meekly, knowing she is totally cooked without her. Jakey then points out the weird sacks on everyone's heads. She is confused because literally every single citizen on the street is walking around with this ugly cosmetic item. Equipped, Dr. Lu, looking absolutely majestic in the front seat, drops the lore. She explains that in this world almost nobody is sackless, since everyone is infected with the emotional virus. She explains that the hospital tries to help using home visits and meds, but the sacks just respawn. If you shrink them, they come back like a bad ex. The Queen explains that generally the emotional bodies are immune, but if the gang get trapped in a specific emotion and get infected by the same virus, they can still grow a sack. Chang notes that his sack is weirdly bugged since it never grew a second monster. Lu drops a massive truth about society. The authorities know people are unstable, so they use short videos, games, and social media to keep everyone's emotions balanced. So for you watching this video right now, yeah, that is the government trying to stop you from turning into a monster. You are welcome, as long as there is enough distraction to counterbalance the stress. People do not explode. It is literally the Subway Surfers gameplay under a sad story strategy. But here comes the real problem. Some criminals are intentionally spreading their virus to make regular people lose control. Why do they do it? For food the criminals need to devour the emotional energy that matches their own. It is a twisted, grinding strategy. They infect you, wait for you to metamorphose, and then eat you. Chang has seen this firsthand, wearing a 1,000-yard stare like he has seen some things in the lobby he cannot unsee. This is the path most underground emotion bodies take to get buffs, including that pink-suited tryhard, Chen's son. That is how he grinded his way to city level, farming noobs this whole time. If they do not catch him, he will keep stacking bodies every single day. The hospital takes in patients not just to save them, but to stop them from becoming free experience points for these sweats they are trying to stop. The feeding lane, the car enters a dark tunnel and the vibe instantly shifts. Someone finally asks where they are actually going. Lu reveals the destination, the Dongai City Emotion Body Management Bureau. They are pulling up to the admin headquarters, but Chen Jun connects the dots. He asks who called the meeting after the hospital got raided. His brain is finally working at 100%. Lu's eyes glow red. Things are getting serious now. She reveals that it was the bureau chief himself who called it. The squad realizes the truth. The bureau chief is the imposter, likely colluding with the Black Chain cult and hiring the assassin himself. Jakey starts panicking, realizing that going to the bureau is basically walking into a trap. Lu is cold as ice, stating it depends on their actual capability to kill them, confident she can 1 versus 9 this entire lobby. Chang wonders if Lu is finally going insane, with his strength unrecovered and the 2 noobs in the back. They are absolutely cooked. Q is slumped at his desk in his office, looking like he just found out his girlfriend is actually his second cousin. The atmosphere is heavy because he is clearly one minor inconvenience Away from ending it all, he remembers his conversation with Song about the. He's completely losing it over the Black Chain cult's sudden hit on the psychiatric hospital. The man is literally tweaking, demanding to know if she was the one who approved the raid. But Ms. Song just sits there, calmly admitting to the entire operation without a single care. She is calling his bluff directly, barely even looking up from her warm cup of tea. Chief Q completely loses his mind, shouting about her secret alliance with a dangerous cult. They killed a superintendent. He stands up now, shaking with absolute terror. He screams accusations of treason like a frightened puppy. Meanwhile, she remains totally unbothered. She tells him to stop looking for drama and just drink his tea to calm down. The chief violently slams the table, nearly shattering whatever little pride he has left. Desperate, he screams that the Central Bureau will step in to save him. He vows to make everyone pay for their crimes, trying desperately to play the big shot. In reality, the guy is just an insecure weakling with a terrible attitude. Then Miss Song drops a massive bomb. He is already a locked-in accomplice. After all he called this meeting, the realization hits him hard he trapped himself. She notes the management bureau will not let him slide either. He is completely cornered. Panicked, Q tries to defend his terrible procedural record. According to him, the meeting was strictly official and followed regulations. Talk about massive copium, the chief is practically choking on his own excuses. But Ms. Song hits him with a brutal reality check about his situation. A central investigation only needs basic suspicion to expose his darkest secrets. She then reveals that Captain Lu is transferring to the city very soon. Chief Q is honestly such a small fish in this pond. He is not even allowed to view her secure file. Who could possibly save him now? Once she starts digging, his entire world is going to fall apart. Song adds that Lu brought 3 highly dangerous rare-type emotion bodies with her. His face pales instantly as the terrifying reality of his situation sinks in. With his career basically over, he cracks under her crushing dominance. The terrified chief completely folds, pledging his full loyalty to the Song family. He grips his teacup so hard it shatters right in his hand. His mental state is hanging by an incredibly thin, fragile thread right now. He is practically begging for mercy, kissing her boots to stay alive. Ms. Song warns him that if he hesitates again, there won't be a body left to bury. He submits entirely, looking just like a beaten dog waiting for his master's command. Cut to the present, his face is cast in deep shadow, preparing to play his part. He must act like nothing more than a quiet, obedient background character. Suddenly, the intercom buzzes to announce that Dr. Lu has finally arrived. Her entire squad is at the bureau. Chief Q instantly switches gears. He forces a fake smile that looks incredibly awkward and deeply unnatural. Stepping forward, the chief tries his absolute best to put on a welcoming face. He starts babbling, desperately trying to sound confident while sweating bullets under his collar. The sheer terror is completely visible all over his shaking, pale face. He looks like a nervous salesman trying to pitch a terrible deal. Q quickly showers Captain Lu with praises and offers his deepest condolences. He laments the superintendent lost to those violent, lawless radicals. Loudly condemning them, he acts as if he is not secretly working with them. He promises the Bureau's absolute support, pretending he actually has real resources to offer. He has no real assets, but Captain Lu stays cool and thanks him. She praises his efforts during that second hospital incident, but Q just keeps on talking. He directs his talk to the squad, warning them how tough their job is. The pursuit team is no joke, so they must keep focused at all times. He acts like a legendary master instead of a basic clerk, lecturing the rookies. He tells the rookies to think of the citizens of Dongai City standing behind them. They must learn from Captain Lu, since the Bureau's future rests on their shoulders. Jackie panics at the sudden attention, while Chang loves the spotlight, swearing to succeed. He promises to make the chief his idol and etch the mission into his heart. The flattery is ridiculously thick here, and Chief Q is devouring every single bit of it. Q is loving it. The trio promise success and tell Captain Lu they are ready. They are fired up and ready to strike wherever she points. Q just laughs. He calls her team incredibly talented, looking like he might ask them for an autograph. He tells Chang to finish the paperwork so they can finally leave. The chief announces he has a meeting and leaves the room. He flees the lobby as fast as possible, but Q is already scheming. The guy is plotting like a total snake. Honestly, someone needs to ban this guy. He isn't stressed about Chang since Miss Song recruited him, but he really wants Chen Jun. He wants to win over Chen Jun down the hall. Chang admits his thoughts. He thought Captain Lu would tear him apart. She admits she wanted to. But she held back for the bigger picture. She cannot lose control now. The actual target is the Black Chain cult backing Q. She wants everyone exposed. She wants to drag them to light and avenge the granny. Captain Lu notes their intense flattery. She laughs at how the guys really have a way with words when praising him. She knows they were lying to keep the peace and start the mission. Jackie admits she was totally lost listening to all those corporate buzzwords. Chang explains that corporate talk is normal for former office workers. He used to have an office job. Meanwhile, Chen Jun just stands there dazed. He looks like he forgot his own name before snapping back to reality. He returns to professional mode, swearing he is a soldier under her command. He claims a strong leader has no weak soldiers, flattering her intensely. He is praising her so much his knees probably hurt. He looks dead serious. His face is full of energy, leaving the rest of the crew speechless. The guy is a master of flattery. Jackie is shocked he managed it. He flattered her even now, while Chang is literally taking notes on his technique. Captain Lu gets flustered, but admits the praise actually feels really nice. Even the queen is not immune to a little praise from her squad. The scene shifts to a new building where our purple-haired villain is questioned. He is getting grilled for failing. He explains the enemies have special sight. Someone can actually see him, and he knows who interfered. It is Jackie from the records. He demands her file immediately. He wants her family info too, his face twisting with malice. He asks about a cute girl with twin tails among the enemies. He is definitely falling for the opposition, which is pretty hilarious. Seeking any scrap of info to get revenge on the squad after his embarrassing failure. He explains that Jang Jiaki is a hatred emotion body who blocked his strike. She ruined everything. Without her interference, he would have already deleted his target. Now, he is stuck planning a comeback. Wearing a cheap purple wig, complete clown. Anyway, Lu explains that Q does not actually control the bureau because his rank is too low. There is zero reason to sweat over that useless NPC. The pursuit team is a specialized division designed to hunt down illegal emotion bodies. They have more presence than an entire armored division. They could wipe out squadrons in a single round. Officially, they are the strongest military force. In the city, physical damage, it barely tickles high-rank emotion bodies. Missiles leave them completely unscathed once they reach world-class status, unless you use emotional power. These guys are basically playing in creative mode. At the recruit's current stage, a single shot is still game over. The elites are known as eternal pursuers. Why? They never log off. They hunt criminals 24/7. No food, no water, no bathroom breaks. Lu introduces the professional squad, but they do not look professional. For Season 3 of Vinland to drop, one girl is totally spaced out in her bunny mask while another just vibes with her bird. Honestly, the bar for professionalism is literally just keeping control of your own system. Look at her, she is casually shoving potato chips down her face like she is watching a live stream. The introductions start with Li Jan, a provincial-level excitement body, and former vice captain. Giali and Su Yuan are up next, with Su Yuan being a heavy-hitting provincial-level joy body. Joining them is Wei Renui. Rounding out the roster as city-level professionals, the recruits quickly realize These elites are a full tier above someone like Elder Lu. They are stuck at street level, while these new elites are just built totally different. Jia is out here doing the absolute most, acting like Captain Lu's #1 fan. He is literally doing backflips just to make her feel welcome. Lu brushes off the unwanted praise, trying not to make a big deal out of it. The queen starts yapping about the institute hit, saying she is here to ban the hackers. Jia starts praising her immediately, calling the cultists absolute trash. They are suddenly acting like they actually want to do work for once. Lu's inner thoughts are currently at 999 ping. If she beefs with Q now, the server will crash. Lu is scanning the room for spies like she is playing a high-stakes game of Among Us. She decides to drop a logic quiz to test these low-level mobs. She brings up Chen's son, the supposedly cracked assassin targeting our main characters. Her theory is that the Black Chain sect hired him to nerf the squad. She wants to track the Shadow sect and expose the chief's puppet masters. Li Jan is not feeling the vibe and hits the exit button. He really just Alt F4s the conversation. Everyone is just staring at the door while Jia tries to perform emergency damage control. Jia starts yapping about how they should have nerfed that assassin years ago. Seriously, this guy is a gold medalist in the professional glazing Olympics. Then he fake answers a call to avoid the actual mission. Another squad member roasts him for being a total wimp. He acts tough like he is actually about that life, while the girl in the back enjoys the drama like it is some viral social media tea session. She tries to rile up the captain to get the mission assigned to her, but Jia immediately exposes her for being street rank procrastination entity, when then starts dragging her for being a total slacker. The entire bureau is honestly just a collection of completely dysfunctional side characters. Another guy decides he is done with the yapping and clocks out for the day. The recruits watch this absolute chaos like a reality show gone wrong. Jia and Wen start fighting over something new while the trio looks at the monitors. Jaeki wonders why Chang maintains such a poker face while the new people celebrate what a wonderful boss Lu is. Chang looks at everyone with a strange look. Back in her office, Lu realizes she has been completely played. She has been burdened with so much work that it is physically impossible. The news broadcasts something about a new three-way division, as Lu realizes this was Q's way of dumping the absolute worst employees on her. This also explains why her entire squad is useless and lacks any high-ranked emotional monsters. Lu suspects that Q might have planted his own people into the squad, but they mostly look like simple lackeys sent as dead weight. She realizes she is surrounded by a squad of professional yappers specifically sent to ruin her. Win rate. The main character realizes this pursuit team is actually just the organization's trash, implying the real enemy is far stronger than imagined. Our protagonist is dealing with something else entirely, because these side characters feel less like saboteurs and more like unreliable bums. Catching Chen's son anytime soon is a total pipe dream, so Lu orders that none of them are to leave the bureau. She is putting the whole lobby on permanent house arrest because it is a literal war zone outside, and they possess absolutely zero survival skills. The building is fully equipped for daily life, so the squad won't struggle for necessities while staying locked inside. Safety is guaranteed because the entire bureau is permanently shrouded within a world-class emotional monsters domain. Even if Chen's son managed to launch a surprise attack, he would only take out one person before being instantly obliterated. The villain is not stupid enough to trade his entire life for a single mid-tier trade in this part of town. The priority for the three undiscovered types is to increase their emotional power to eventually capture the enemy. They are all stuck at level 1 street level and need to stop yapping and start farming experience points for the training arc. Jaeki's power allows her to perceive intelligence, and leveling up could help her pinpoint exactly where Chen's son is hiding. Boosting her power might even lead them to stumble right into the enemy the moment they step out the door. To level up, they must master basic control over their emotions and slowly start to indulge their specific urges. They basically have to let their intrusive thoughts win. Chang is a more troublesome case because his power already demands daily upkeep using specific emotional resources. He is also capable of absorbing the energy stored within inhibitory chains, which act as his specific emotional resource. The higher-ups classified his report as top secret to conceal the true nature of his ability from the world, which keeps him safe from the likes of Q2. Chang must invent a cover story about preventing risked losing control completely just to demand those precious chains. But now Chang is already starved again because the rationality crystals he got from that goth girl were barely enough to satisfy him. Ye tries giving advice, but Chang still doubts her and fears she might betray him. He refuses to let that goth queen lure him into a terrible deal when his risk of losing sanity is mounting, especially since he has no energy left to consume. He must find his own Lu to stabilize his emotions. Think of it as a mandatory daily vibe check that high-tier beings use. To survive, every single day they must strictly repeat bizarre routines that are the exact opposite of their natural behavior. Nature, it is basically a daily quest you must finish every single morning. Otherwise, your brain rots. For example, a joy emotion user has to find a way to make themselves sad just to stay stable. If you are a joy user, you must go full depression mode just to keep your power active. Meanwhile, back in the present, Jockey strengthens her unique emotional power by binge watching suspenseful thrillers as a daily ritual. Suddenly, Chang starts wondering what daily ritual he needs to perform to find his own Lu. The grind for infinite power is getting seriously stressful as he tries to figure out his new routine. Back at the office, the squad is sitting around their desks when Chang starts questioning whether their current daily tasks are actually going to be useful for the upcoming mission. To be honest, they look completely useless right now, and he is left wondering if they are gaining experience or just slacking off in the lobby. He asks Ye if binge-watching dramas really counts as Jockey's mandatory Lu ritual for sanity. She confirms that as long as the show triggers intense, irrational emotions, it helps keep her sanity stable. But soon, Chang starts panicking over his own rapidly depleting supply of rationality crystals. Estimating they will only last another 2 days, he considers calling that goth girl for assistance, but contacting the Black Chain cult is a literal death sentence. He cannot just order another shipment of crystals without getting ambushed by dangerous enemies or the ultimate boss, so he decides to consult his elite colleagues since they always seem entirely relaxed and never do any actual work. These seniors are completely dominating the office while doing absolutely zero work. Like they have endless reserves to maintain this lazy lifestyle. Later that night, 2 agents get into a screaming match because their powers are fueled by high excitement, meaning they never worry about going insane. They are always locked into hyperactive mode, so keeping their balance is an afterthought. One guy claims that keeping absolute peace of mind is crucial, while his rival shouts that true fighters battle until sunrise. Suddenly, a female agent reveals she is a procrastination type who lives to postpone absolutely everything, including her own sleep. She is truly the queen of laziness, and her sleep schedule has completely disappeared. Chang takes careful notes as she explains how to avoid the constant stress of hunting for massive amounts of resources every day. She tells him that if she remains at a lower rank, she can safely indulge her emotions and slack off comfortably with zero danger. This is basically a total cheat code to avoid the daily grind and survive risk-free. However, a senior colleague quickly shuts her down, warning them that she is just an exception and they cannot copy her. No easy coasting allowed. The Bureau only issues tiny monthly stipends, but it only covers 70% of what they actually need to survive. The government basically rations their power, just a cheap participation trophy. To survive, they have to grind for extra merits, which works like corporate performance bonuses. It turns out these monsters have an actual human resources department. And you literally have to slave away in a soul-crushing corporate job just to stay alive. But looking at these lazy guys, they do not even try. Guy catches him looking completely drained and asks what is wrong. She wonders if this is what happens when an emotional body runs completely out of resources. She definitely notices his fading sanity because the poor guy looks completely exhausted. He quickly brushes it off, claiming that he only needs some rest. Suddenly, Jockey blushes for absolutely no clear reason and runs right out of the room. Her strange behavior leaves him completely baffled about why she acted so suspicious. Alone at last, Chang collapses onto the floor and desperately searches his pockets for a crystal. He pulls out a tiny rationality crystal, carefully scraping off microscopic crumbs. This is extreme min-maxing, and he is literally starving just to survive. Somehow, he has managed to stretch a single day of supplies to last 3 whole days. But starvation has left him so incredibly weak that he can barely stand. With absolutely no merits, he is trapped in a brutal, vicious cycle. Because he has absolutely no food to gain strength, he cannot earn any more points. Stuck in bronze, seriously, how is he supposed to survive these broken mechanics? But surprisingly, this extreme starvation actually refines his inner control. He has accidentally unlocked a secret training arc for his energy flow. His power now flows incredibly smoothly and fluidly, even if he cannot fully solidify it yet. But testing powers wastes energy, so he stops staring at the contact. He stares at the phone number for that dangerous, heretical cult. While he starves in the bureau, their massive, forbidden stash of resources looks incredibly tempting. The next day, a massive argument breaks out over resource distribution. Because Chang just joined the team, his merit points are at 0. The squad thinks giving valuable inhibitory chains to a brand new rookie is a massive mistake. They want to gatekeep the rare gear from someone who has not worked. Why hand over the best equipment to someone who has done nothing? But Dr. Liu steps in, reminding everyone of the work he did before even joining them. The executives at the round table even awarded him a bronze medal for his performance. She defends him, asking if a bronze medal is sufficient currency for a snack. The opposition still loudly argues that his low level makes these demands absolutely ridiculous. Q directly accuses Captain Liu of wasting their valuable assets. He tries to preach about their strict discipline, but Captain Liu is completely ignoring his useless, annoying yapping. Then Case suddenly announces a meeting and literally walks out mid-conversation. With Kay gone, the team immediately starts gossiping about the huge amount of resources she must have. How many resources did she have to stockpile? They even wonder if Chang is just her kept man or a boy toy. These people are absolutely loving the drama, dreaming up a domineering corporate romance story about them. They believe there is a secret office affair going on behind closed doors. Just thinking about the massive price of those chains is painful. Someone confronts Chang, telling him to stop running and earn real merit points by doing actual missions. He mocks him for relying on a woman instead of standing up like a real man. Talk about insecure. This guy is desperately projecting his own issues onto the main character. Honestly, making such an embarrassing scene in the office drops his respect to absolute 0. Jayaki silently watches the main character walk away, wondering if she should speak up. The entire office has the wrong idea, but her crushing shyness keeps her totally frozen. She desperately wants to step in and offer him comfort because this is totally unfair. But her massive social anxiety makes speaking up in a crowd completely impossible. Instead, she decides to quietly follow him and check on him once they are away. Jayaki catches up in the quiet hallway, gently reaching out to touch his shoulder. But the second she makes physical contact, his legs completely buckle and he crashes down. He looks up, he weakly admits he is fine, he is just literally starving. Then he asks her to carry him back. Later, Jaeki asks Fan about the merit points. She wants to know how many points they earned for capturing their target, Chen's son. Our girl is immediately checking the bounty price, like a true mercenary looking for a bag. Fan confirms the reward is massive, with plenty of zeros on that check. It is definitely enough to finally purchase those high-tier inhibitory chains they desperately need. Catching this target is the ultimate way to secure the key to Chang's survival. Fan teases her about falling for Chang, but Jaeki stays totally focused. She immediately demands Chen-sun's detailed file so she can study the legendary assassin thoroughly. As Su clocks out, a senior agent asks if Jaeki's powers found anything. The office hater immediately scoffs, mocking her abilities with a wave of pure arrogance. He claims a rookie kid could never track down a master assassin like Chen-sun. Jaeki ignores the toxicity, focusing entirely on the target's bizarre locked room cases. She acts fast. She immediately activates her special emotional power. Suddenly, she shouts that she has located him inside an abandoned factory. The entire squad is stunned, but the hater still claims she is lying. This man is incredibly salty, desperately claiming she is lying because he cannot accept her talent. He simply cannot handle a fresh rookie, completely outshining his entire career. Just then, Captain Lau enters the office, demanding to know what the loud racket is about. The agents quickly report that Jaeki used her powers to locate Chen-sun. But that incredibly annoying headphone guy refuses to stop yapping, heavily doubting her unbelievable discovery. He points out that Donghai City has far too many abandoned factories. Instead, he mockingly asks if her supposed wall hacks can pinpoint the exact building they need. Or are they just going to wander around like lost, blind kittens? He keeps spreading negative energy, claiming the target will escape before they arrive. But Jaeki ignores him. She completely tunes out his pathetic negative noise. Her eyes turn completely dark as she dives straight back into her powerful vision mode. She spots a high rise in the distance with very specific text on it. The giant sign on the building clearly reads Wilderness International. They immediately open the local map to verify if her vision is actually real. A factory sits right next to it, confirming Chen-sun's hideout. The low-tier agents are still yapping, calling the discovery a total fantasy. They bluntly tell the rookie that capturing such a deadly assassin is a total pipe dream, telling their captain to just drink her tea because they are already finished and ready for the trash, but a skeptic insists they actually still have a shot at winning this fight. He brings up old reports where even a top-tier squad got wrecked because they were not ready for his teleportation powers, since Chen-sun never falls for the same trick twice. He has a clever plan to trap him with a stealthy ambush, requesting the inhibitory blade, which basically acts as a mute button for emotional powers. As long as they plunge that weapon into him, he will not be able to use his powers, allowing them to finally end his streak. Chang Mo wonders if this blade is loaded with the same pure rationality as his own signature chains. Suddenly, the rest of the squad senses a massive payout. Someone mentions that Chen-sun has a bounty with endless zeros. The merits for this mission are dozens of times higher than a normal hunt, and everyone wants a piece, even after splitting the reward. Everyone in the group would end up obscenely wealthy with an entire year of rare resources. The crew starts losing their minds with excitement, begging their captain to let them launch the attack right now. Captain Lu steps in and shuts down the entire room with a single cold no. She orders her main trio, Chang Mo, Jaeki, and Chen Jun, to follow her to her private office. Jaeki is completely confused, asking why they are not chasing that massive reward. While the trail is hot, Captain Lu drops a massive truth bomb. Jaeki should not have leaked the target's location in the public chat. She warns them that there are definitely double agents and moles from Q inside their own team. Jaeki realizes She almost threw the entire game just by talking too much, close call. The captain decides they will wait for now, letting the spies believe they have. One while she plans their next move, night falls and Jaeki spots the villain Chen-sun. Still camping out at that abandoned factory, he has not moved yet, which makes Lu wonder if the moles in their group are even doing their jobs. Maybe. They are not even spies and are simply too lazy to do anything, she considers. Taking that inhibitory blade and heading out to the factory completely alone, she wants to use the villain to root out the agents behind the scenes. Captain Lu is stressed because Jaeki cannot keep her tracking powers active forever. She is thinking about simply razing the entire site to the ground like a true boss. If she misses him and he discovers Jaeki's powers, Chen-sun will go into hiding. Somewhere they can never find him, even with local landmarks. Maybe she should go find Q directly and force him to spill all their secrets. Frustration is rising and the captain almost snaps, admitting her emotions got completely out of control. Changmo watches her aura flare up like she is about to destroy the entire area. Changmo uses his abilities to calm her down, and she apologizes for her sudden outburst. Jaeki suggests getting closer to the factory to keep her eyes on the target with perfect clarity, but the captain refuses because the rookie is too weak and would definitely end up dead in the crossfire. Changmo suggests taking the entire team along since moles and spies do not even matter anymore. They have already entered the bureau, which is under constant surveillance from their enemies. There are cameras and bugs hidden everywhere in the hallways, so stealth is basically impossible. Luckily, their private room is fully swept and keeping things problem-free so they can safely plot the mission in peace. But Lu is worried, very worried. She fears bringing this suspect team along will sabotage the entire mission. The captain is stressing because these low-tier rookies might ruin everything on purpose. Our main character explains that if they fail, they will know exactly who the mole is. He is playing four-dimensional chess. Meanwhile, the villains are still stuck playing checkers. Plus, the target won't vanish because the squad is his primary focus. Captain Lu is personally tasked with guarding Jaeki to ensure the assassin never gets a chance to hurt her. Their VIP needs a world-class bodyguard so she does not get taken down instantly. Jaeki will lock onto the enemy target using her unique vision power. Then she will feed all the real-time coordinates and intelligence directly to her eager team. 3 city-level elite fighters will then move in with inhibitory blades to secure the arrest. These guys are on that 24/7 grind. They haven't touched a bed all week. The main character calculates 3 major gains from this upcoming high-stakes operation. First, they will force the target to reveal his hidden stats and abilities. Next, they will finally be able to figure out how Jaeki's powers actually work. And finally, this high-stakes move will allow them to see exactly who the traitorous rat in their ranks is. This massive merit payday will finally unite the fractured squad. And honestly, who can blame them? Nothing brings a squad together like a massive payday. Jaeki is absolutely floored. He cut through this incredibly complex situation with total clarity. She admits she felt lost in a giant labyrinth before he spoke. Captain Lu thanks him and even suggests he might be better suited to lead. But our main character stays humble, claiming he only performed well because she gave him the stage. Just then, Chen-sun pulls up with a very smart and humble suggestion for them. He recommends that all field operatives wear active body cameras during the mission. For 2 days, he set up an encrypted server and anti-bugging measures. The squad is shocked to discover this pink-haired kid is actually a scientist. Lu is thrilled the plan is locked in and moves to secure the gear. She is finally ready to initiate the raid and capture their target before he can escape again. Meanwhile, back in the office, a certain headphone-wearing hater is complaining quite loudly. The bitter hater keeps yapping about where the captain and the others suddenly went. He theorizes the inner circle went to capture the target alone just to hoard the merits. The hater keeps running his mouth, until Jaeki tells him to shut up. He experiences a classic, terrifying realization that she is standing directly behind him this whole time. Lu stands behind him like an incredibly angry parent catching their kid. She enters the briefing room with a cold stare, demanding their phones. Everyone must immediately strap on mandatory surveillance monitors for the upcoming high-priority mission. The captain is officially running a mandatory security sweep to stop any leaks. She is installing strict security measures, no leaks, no compromise from the enemy. Suddenly, an agent named Wee starts crying about his human rights being violated by this strict surveillance. His partner immediately tells him to shut his mouth and follow orders. Lu completely ignores the complaining and announces that the entire team is rolling out immediately. They are heading straight to the abandoned factory district to strike. Our team will capture the target, but Wee starts crashing out in front of everyone. He shouts at the top of his lungs, calling the main character a liability. Their loud colleague claims our hero is going to ruin the mission for everyone. Of the team, our boy looks completely drained from a severe lack of resources, and quietly admits to the group that he lacks the physical strength to join the raid because his battery is dead. That petty guy starts doing an actual victory lap around the office until a senior agent finally tells him to shut his mouth, leave Chang Mo alone, and let the squad start moving out. Captain Lu calls Chang over to her desk and drops those legendary glowing metal chains right into his lap, leaving the entire office of haters in absolute shambles and total disbelief. The queen is finally handing over that top tier special gear so our boy can stop his aura from draining away like total amateur. Chang demands an explanation, but Lu has no need for these chains, which were her own personal fuel. She tells him the merit cost does not matter, and he does not need to worry about paying her back. She is officially handing him a permanent premium pass with 0 microtransactions required. Lu admits that keeping Chang Mo by her side is actually more effective for her stability than the chains themselves. The envy is absolutely real. The agents in the back are losing their minds watching this legendary development happen in the middle of the office. Yeli gets immediately pissed off because of the hints Lu has been dropping left and right. She claims she is only angry and definitely not jealous of Lu. Ku makes a random call while Chen Soon's subordinate asks what their next step is. Chen Soon is happy that his targets are coming to him full speed. The pursuit team finally gets the order to move out toward the abandoned factory district. Chen Soon informs them that there are no trackers on their car either. The seniors try to reassure the rookies that Lu is so powerful that if she unleashes her emotional monster here, the newbies will be obliterated on the spot. Jia acts like a total fanboy and proposes a party just for the success of this mission. Chang asks Yeli if these guys are really fools entering a monster's mouth, but she believes they are actually very secure in the hands of the doctor. If the enemy was that strong, they would have captured the 3 rookies during the hospital attack. If a world-class entity goes loose during this fight, every other entity in the city will know. With the doctor's protection, these guys really are safe. Jia keeps mentioning places to eat because to him, this is just a family trip, not an important combat mission. A hooded man passes the car and Lu takes immediate notice. She does not even waste a single minute and lunges straight out of the window. Zhao Yian makes a run for it, trying to escape the doctor's trusty weapon. As Zhao Yian runs, Lu sprints right after him. Meanwhile, the car carrying the others rolls forward, and they all realize that Zhao Yian has been spotted. They realize that the situation is critical and an emergency mission has been requested. However, one agent objects, pointing out that Chen Soon is only city level and that as long as they watch him, he can be taken down easily. While they are discussing which mission to take, several drones suddenly appear and project a live image showing 2 captured people tied up with heavy ropes. None of them recognize who they are. Suddenly, a She claims those two are actually her parents, sending massive shockwaves through the room. Suddenly, a man swings to hit her, but a hand instantly yanks her back.